HIMS stock has absolutely cratered today, down 11%. Oh my goodness. So yeah, we're going to discuss exactly what's going on with HIMS stock, why it's down so huge today, and why you shouldn't worry. So yeah, let's buckle in and let's get through this. By the way, Shamao says to like and subscribe. So yeah, HIMS and HERS shares dipped 9%, well 11 now, after FDA says Lilly's weight loss drug is not in shortage. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm just going to summarize the article because honestly, this whole thing is stupid. Okay, so anyway, Eli Lilly makes a drug based off of, I think it's pronounced terazeptide, and that is not in shortage anymore. And as according to the FDA, that is true. That's not currently in shortage. However, there's two different basic categories, two different companies making these GLP-1 medications. You know, the main brands. You got Eli Lilly, you have Novo Nordisk right here. And the thing is, HIMS's GLP-1 medications is not based on Eli Lilly's terazeptide. It's based on Novo Nordisk's semaglutide. It's a completely different medication. So this FDA, non-shortage for terazeptide doesn't affect doesn't affect HIMS stock at all. In fact, right here it says, analysts at BMO Capital Markets said the news was a clear positive for Eli Lilly's manufacturing capabilities, blah, blah. Meanwhile, analysts at Citi noted that HIMS and HERS will not be directly impacted by the FDA's decision because it compounds semaglutide, the key ingredient in a rival weight loss drugs made by Novo Nordisk. Semaglutide remains on the FDA's shortages list. So I think it's the AI algorithms that really pummeled HIMS's stock. So let's dig into this further. What is actually going on with semaglutide? So what's going on is terazepatide. I can never pronounce that word. Shortages there are resolved. That's Eli Lilly's recent announcements. Dulaglutide is in shortage. Semaglutide is in shortage. Manufacturer has reported all but one of the presentations are available, and liraglutide injections are in shortage. The manufacturers reported 2 presentations are available, and 3 have limited availability. Now, why is this important? It's important because the FDA has a exceptions list where manufacturers are allowed to create compounded medications so long as the lead brands are in shortage. So this is what allows him to create this compounded GLP-1 medications, is because of this shortage. So the common theory here is that when the shortage ends, HIMS may no longer be able to produce GLP-1 medications. HIMS thinks otherwise. They think because they personalize their medications, they'll be able to continue selling these medications. But that's going to be up to the courts to decide. I don't know the answer to that question. The courts will decide. When will semaglutide be available? Well, Novo Nordisk, their shortage is expected to continue into Q4 and probably into 2025. This was reported 1 month ago. Novo Nordisk said the shortage of lower strengths of its diabetes drug Ozempic has deteriorated, with intermittent shortages for all strengths expected into the final quarter of 2024 due to increased demand and along with capacity constraints at some of its manufacturing sites. In a note published by the European Medicines Agency on Monday, the obesity maker recommended healthcare workers continue limited treatment initiation of new patients on Ozempic and its other diabetic drug, Victoza, until the supply situation improves. Okay, so what's another benefit to HIMS that's just a recent thing? Actually, it's the port strike. It is the port strike. Because what's happening with the port strike is it's limiting the ability of Novo Nordisk to import these drugs. The semaglutide medications are impacted by the port strike. You'd think HIMS would be skyrocketing. You'd think they'd be skyrocketing. But they're not, of course. Why? I don't know. The market does what the market does. But yeah, anyway, they got the port strike, and it's going to limit the imports of Novo Nordisk's semaglutide medications, which will actually make the shortages even worse as long as this port strike continues. Again, this will probably be a short-term thing. The strike should be over within a month, I guess. Who knows? Regardless, though, even without GLP-1 medications, see, the thing is, the GLP-1 medications, at some point, the shortages will end. Probably sometime in 2025. Now, when the shortages end, as I mentioned, HIMS may be forced to stop producing and selling GLP-1 compounded medications, or they may be able to continue. But as investors, I want to err on the side of, on the side of conservatism here. I don't include GLP-1s in my valuation model because of this uncertainty. Because I don't know. I don't know if HIMS will be able to continue selling GLP-1 indefinitely into the future. I do not know. So anyway, what I do is I don't include it into my DCF valuation model for HIMS stock. So anyway, here's the history of HIMS performance, and you can see the revenues, their gross profit, and their operating income. So they are now a profitable company as of earlier this year, and they're growing more and more profitable each quarter coming. So I believe they're the only profitable telehealth company. So what else is going on is that GLP-1 medications only represent, currently in the last report, only 6% of the growth for HIMS. So you can see here, HIMS stock grew 52% last quarter, year over year, and only 6% of that was because of GLP-1 medications. So they would have grown 46% without that. So they are kicking butt with or without GLP-1s. GLP-1s are just a shot of adrenaline to keep things going further for HIMS, but it's not required. It's not required for their thesis, for my thesis for them. Because remember, I invested into HIMS before GLP-1 medications is not even part of my thesis. Now, for me, I'm predicting these revenue growth for HIMS. I'm predicting revenue growth of 40% in 2024. And honestly, that looks now to be low since it's actually looking to be more towards 52%, more than 40%. So I think I undershot that one in my prediction. I made this prediction back in May. So this is a bit out of date. It's back in May. So these numbers are actually probably lower than what the real numbers will be. So yeah, what's going on here is I'm predicting 2025's growth to be 25%, gradually decreasing to 6% in 2033 for total sum revenues of $3.4 billion. Now, what's going on here is how do you value HIMS then, not counting for GLP-1, ignoring the GLP-1 nonsense? How do you value HIMS stock? What do you do today? What am I doing today? So there's a couple different ways to value HIMS stock. I have a DCF valuation model on my Patreon, which you can access for as little as $5 per month. Another way to value HIMS stock is just through a simple price per sales multiple. Look at Eli Lilly, a price per sales multiple of 20.69. Oh, by the way, his price per sales is actually 3.94. For a company growing as fast as HIMS and as small as HIMS, they're so much smaller on a price per sales ratio than Eli Lilly. It is craziness that Eli Lilly's PS is so much higher than HIMS, considering the size of the two companies and the growth rates of HIMS itself. So, but anyway, if you apply Eli Lilly's 20.69 price per sales to HIMS's, what I project, $3.2 billion or $3.4 billion in 2033, that's a market cap of over $60 billion in 2033. That's a 20x based off of today's price. Current market cap is only $3.6 billion. So that is nearly a 20x from today's price, assuming that all holds and the price per sales is that high. But even if the price per sales isn't that high, let's say the price per sales is 10. If it's 10, that's $32 billion. That's a 10x. On a PS of just 10, that is a 10x from today's price in 10 years. So yeah, as I mentioned, the DCF is for HIMS stock is on my Patreon. You'll know exactly what I think HIMS stock is worth today. For as little as $5 per month. Not just HIMS stock. I got AMD. I've got NVIDIA. I've got Intel. I've got Microsoft. I've got Tesla. And I got 15 different companies that I've done DCF valuations and corporate analyses on my Patreon. And I also have my Patreon portfolio. You can access any purchase I make, any sale I make as I grow that portfolio from $0 to $1 million. It's the best deal you'll ever find. So yeah, that's it from me. Oh, and also comment down in the comments what you think of all this new news. Do you think it's as crazy as I do? So yeah, thank you for watching. Now I'll see you in the next one.